Yo, today we are going to be recapping NCAA football again, and right now I'm just trying to complete this science that has to be done. It's not due until tomorrow, but I'm just trying to get done as soon as possible. So I just finished, and let's see what I got. Okay, if I go out of that, refresh. It says homework. I got a 96 on it, which is perfect. I'm not even gonna complain with that. Alright. So we had a few bye weeks for some of the D1 programs. And week 5, here we go. My favorite game that I didn't watch. Of course, as a Florida fan, I gotta hate FSU and of course Miami. So when I saw that was overtime, I was watching that game. And Virginia scores double overtime, and then 4th and 12, it was wiggling in the FSU receiver's hand. They said touchdown, then they ran it back, and it showed that it was incomplete. So FSU, who beat number 8 Bama, loses to unranked Virginia. And I think Virginia is going to be ranked because they've had a strong start. I think they're 4-0 now, maybe 5-0. One of those two. And then TCU, I knew that they were a good team. And coming into it, I said that this is going to be a down to the wire game because Arizona State, they have a really solid roster. And I could have seen an upset, which did happen, 27-24 in favor of Arizona State, which is you gotta like. Arizona State is now 4-1, and now and gives TCU not only their first loss, but also their first conference loss. So when you compare the two, it was obviously better game for Sam Leviett. So 2 tutties, nearly 300 yards. TCU had 2 turnovers. So Arizona State is probably gonna go into this next week ranked. Okay. Now we move over into Saturday football. First game of the Big Ten for Washington and Ohio State. Of course, we all knew who was going to win this one. Ohio State takes care of business in Seattle. Julian Sand had a great game. Jeremiah Smith, 81 yards and a touchdown. But that wasn't the most exciting game for Big Ten football. Of course, that would have to go to the Oregon-Penn State game. And it went down to the wire. It was the first all whiteout victory and loss for Penn State in a long time. So if ever, and Dante Moore was just unbelievable this game. Drew 2 tutties and a pick. Obviously, 14 for 25. Not too great throwing the ball. Dante Moore had over 100 more yards than him, 15 more completions on 14 more throws. That's how good Dante Moore is. And at the beginning of the season, I didn't know how good he was going to be, but obviously he's like that. So yeah, 30-24 upset for Oregon. They're probably going to be up in the top 5 for this upcoming week. Another top 15 matchup, SEC ball, LSU and Ole Miss. Now, I was watching this game because my mom is an LSU fan. So, whenever she's tuned into the game, they were down at half, and then it was just field goals. And then she was getting hope, but LSU couldn't prevail. Ole Miss gets the upset over LSU. Ole Miss has played 5 total games, and 3 of them have been SEC games. So, Ole Miss still undefeated. They are pushing hard to show why they're top 5, even with their backup QB playing. Great game for Ole Miss with the pass. Garrett Nussneimer had a solid outing, but again, you need to be putting the ball in the end zone more, especially if you're LSU. Next game, I feel like Georgia would have won if their defensive player didn't make no dumb mistake. And of course, when I mean that player, I'm talking about Ellis Robinson the fourth. Giving that costly penalty. It was already going to be a first down. And then you just give them an extra 15 yards. That just sealed the game for Alabama. And Gunnar Stockton, he really didn't have that good of a game either. But Ty Simpson was outstanding for Bama, so they get the upset 24-21 in Georgia. Next game, we saw some more SEC ball. Texas A&M edges off Auburn 16-10. So it wasn't a bad game for Texas A&M either. Great rushing, great throwing. You just gotta be more efficient. They're undefeated still, but hopefully they could put it together. Actually, no. Hopefully they don't, because of course I'm a Florida guy. Everyone knows that. So hopefully they can get it together. But suck to Florida. Next game, Big Ten game. Indiana beats Iowa, though, even though they just blew out Illinois last week. Not Illinois. Oh, y'all know what I meant. Even though they blew them out last week, they only beat Iowa by 5, which is a big red flag, because if you can beat good teams, that's great, but if you're going to immediately not play up to your standard against Iowa, that's saying something. And I'm like, it was a tie game going into the fourth quarter, so. Anyways, next up, Iowa State destroys Arizona. A nice 6-7% passing completion for Arizona's quarterback. 250 yards, that's not that bad. But when you're playing a great team in Iowa State, you just can't afford that. Like, Arizona, 32 for 48, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. And when you take a look at Iowa State, they played their third string. Now, the starter was 14 for 20, a whole lot less than Noah for Arizona, but even though he had 14 completions, which is 18 less than Noah's, he only had 10 less yards, which is saying something. You can't do that as a program and that I don't know what I was trying to say there. Anyway, Iowa State gets that big win, and Tennessee narrowly escapes Mississippi State. Going into the game, I thought it was going to be a blowout for Tennessee, but it's crazy because they just upset. No, because they could have gotten upset badly by the way the game was looking, and it's good for Tennessee because they did lose. They're still going to be ranked, but if Mississippi State wins this, they're in the top 25. So Mississippi State might be a team to watch out for for the rest of the season and next year. Just saying. Next game was Georgia Tech and Wake Forest. Georgia Tech narrowly escapes Wake Forest and will continue to be ranked going into this upcoming week. They shouldn't have been in this predicament anyway, trailing to Wake Forest entering the fourth. It was 17-3 at the end of the first half. So, like I said, Georgia Tech got lucky. They got to be ready for these next few games, especially if they want to try to make the playoffs. Vanderbilt, obviously, they're going to beat Utah State. So, on to the next one. Same thing with Missouri and Massachusetts. It wasn't even debatable. Mizzo's 5-0 now, which is crazy. But wait until they play some more SEC schools. Then we're going to find out how much of frauds they really are. Notre Dame and Arkansas played. We already know who was going to win this one. And then BYU and Colorado. BYU nearly lost this game, but because they were trailing 21-17 to enter the fourth. They were down 14-3 at the end of the first. So they come back and get the victory, but that's a big red flag if you're BYU. And I completely skipped over the USC-Illinois game. That game was down to the wire. Ultimately, USC couldn't complete the comeback. It is what it is. But, yeah, hard fought-out game from both teams, proving why they deserve to be there. So, when we look at the current standings, and rankings, not standings. Ohio State's first, Oregon second, Miami third. Ole Miss took LSU's spot. They literally flip-flopped. It was 4-13 for LSU and Ole Miss respectively. Now Ole Miss is 4th, LSU is 13th. We have Oklahoma still is the 5th ranked school. That's crazy. I would have never expected that. Texas A&M is 6th. 7th is Penn State. So they go down 4 spots. Oregon is a great school, so obviously they weren't going to go down too far. Indiana is now 8th. Texas is still 9th. Bama is 10th. They jump up 7 spots. Georgia drops from 5 to 12. Texas Tech is 11th. We already went over LSU. Iowa State is 14th still. Same thing with Tennessee. Vanderbilt jumps up to 16th. Georgia Tech falls to 17th after after their 1-point overtime win. Florida State falls out the top 15 to go down to 18th. Missouri is now 19th. Michigan is 20th. Notre Dame is 21st. Illinois is 22nd. Only moved up one spot after their top 25 win. BYU is 23rd, and the team that I said would be ranked, Virginia, they are 4-1, not 5-0. I thought they were still undefeated. They are 24th, Virginia, and TCU drops out of that top 25, and Arizona State jumps in and gets 25th. Song of the day, we're gonna go Yellow by Coldplay. That is such a good song. I'm not gonna get too much into detail because I need to go to sleep because I've been losing out on sleep. And I'll catch you on the next one, I guess. Peace out.